Hi, this is Kara, and this is DIY on the house. I was super fortunate to learn how to crochet. I think I was in second grade. My mom is a phenomenal crocheter, but in fact, Mom wasn't the one who was able to teach me how to finally learn the craft of crocheting. My little friend, Joni, I was over at her house and she was doing, I was like, show me. My mom has been trying and I just couldn't pick it up. I don't know what it is on how she said it, but I picked up the basics from Joni and then relied on my mom for the rest of the instructions on how to crochet. In fact, my mom has crocheted a 4-foot, I want to say, by 6-foot Lord's Supper using filet crochet. She's done it twice. And she's crocheted christening gowns for our babies. Just an amazing crocheter. So I am going to show you, hopefully I can do half as good a job as Joni and Mom has done. I'm going to show you how to crochet and how to make a baby blanket. The project that we're going to work on today is this baby blanket. This baby blanket is done with the half-shell stitch, but don't let that get you intimidated. All it is a chain, a single crochet, and a double crochet. This one is done with 4 different colors of yarn. Every 8 rows I change to a different color, but I love how it turned out. It is a really, really sweet pattern, something that's really repetitive, and I'm super excited to finish it for a good friend of ours who's going to be a grandma for the first time, and she needs her own grandma afghan. So let's get started, and when you're done, you'll have a project hopefully just as cute. When you start a project using the half-shell stitch, you need to have a base chain row. And to determine how many chains you do in that row, it's just a little tiny bit of math. You pick a number that is divisible by 3, and you add 1 to it. So on that baby blanket that I showed you in the beginning, I did 99 chains because that's divisible by 3, and then I added 1 to it. So that chain was 100 wide. So for this project today, we are going to pick 12, which is divisible by 3, and then we're going to add 1 to it. So our base chain row will be 13. You're going to have to do a slip knot. So put it around your finger and pull up. This is your string. Pull up your slip knot, put your hook through, and draw it up just a little bit tight. And put my tail down there, weave my fingers through, up and over the index. So I am going to chain 12 plus 1. So we're going to do 13. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Your base chain row should be kind of loose. You do not want these to be super tight because you're going to be putting your stitches in there. Okay, I wanted to move the camera a little bit so you could see how you count a chain. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there you have your 13 chains. When you are doing the half shell stitch, you start your row in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is where I am going to start my stitching. Okay, the half shell stitch, the first one of every row is just a tiny bit different, but when you understand why, then it really isn't different at all. So as I said, you're going to start in your 4th stitch, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This part right here now counts as 1 double crochet. So the rhythm of a half shell stitch is double crochet, chain, chain, single crochet. So using this information that this is now considered a double crochet, so now you've done 1 double crochet, you're going to do another one. So a double crochet, you put it over your hook once and you put it in that chain that we counted off. You pull it through the chain, you draw it over, you pull it through 2, and you pull it through 2 again. The rhythm is double crochet, chain, chain. So now I'm going to chain, chain, and back in the same very hole that you did your double crochet a second ago, you put your single crochet. So now you have the beginning ones that I said now count as a double crochet. So there's double crochet, chain, chain, single crochet. Now we're going to skip 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip 2 chains, and we do the same rhythm again. Going to put it over the hook to do double crochet in the same chain. You do another double crochet because the rhythm is double crochet, double crochet. The next rhythm is chain, chain, and single crochet. You skip 2 chains, 1, 2. Now we're in this hole here. We're doing a double crochet, so I wrap it over once and draw it through the chain, draw it through 2 loops on the hook, and draw it through 2 loops. So the rhythm again, double crochet, chain, chain. So I'm going to chain, chain, and in the same spot, the same chain, use single crochet. Now you're going to skip 2, 1, 2. You're down to your last chain, which is perfect. So you're going to do a double crochet there, the other double crochet to finish your rhythm, double crochet, chain, chain, and single crochet. Okay, as I'm laying this out, I want to say if you get down to the end and you have done 100 chains, you've done your shells all the way across, and pretend there's 2 chains left instead of just 1, or there's none left, I would, instead of pulling out the whole row, I would just rip out, back up a couple, and make your adjustment back here. Instead of skipping 2 chains, maybe you need to only skip 1. Or instead of skipping 2, maybe you need to skip 3, so that you can adjust and you can end at the end, or at the last chain on your row. I have done this enough times that we're not perfect. We count wrong sometimes, and you get through, and you just need to make adjustments to make it work. I have completed the first row, and I have it laying out here so that you can see at the end of your first row, you need to chain 3. And you can remember this because back in the beginning when I said these 3 here will become your first double crochet, that's what this chain 3 at the end of this row is. So you chain 3, and you turn it and you head back the other direction. So I'm holding it this way. I have my chain 3, and in the hole that was created by your chain 2 on the row that you just finished, that is where you put your second double crochet. So a second double crochet in that hole. The rhythm is the same. 1, 2 double crochet, 1, 2 chain, and single crochet. To go to your next one, you go to the next hole that was created by your 2 chains before. So you put your double crochet in there. So there's 1, there's 2, pull up more thread here, weave my fingers through. So there's 1, 2, chain 2, and single crochet. You go to your next hole that was created by the 2 chains on the row before, double crochet, chain 2, so 1, 2, and you single crochet in that same hole. Last one, and I'll lay it down and show you what you have. So here's in that the 2 chain spot is 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and a single crochet. So now you're at the end of row number 2. You lay it down there. And you can see how you are going to be counting these in the future. So here is one going that way, and here is one going that way. So there's 1 row and 2 rows. At this point, I'm going to change colors so you see how that happens. So you leave a tail, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches at the end of that row, and you draw it through your loop and pull it off. So now you tighten that up. So now you are secure. You have your tail here. At this point, I like to clean up my rows a little bit. When you have these tails, you're going to want to feed it back through this row so that it is encased in your next row. It makes kind of a tunnel, and it makes just a really clean project. Weave your crochet hook. You don't have any yarn on it at this point. You're just weaving it through random stitches on the row you just finished. No right or wrong. Just weave it through the stitches and pull back your tail. So you're just basically weaving back through, kind of back stitching, you would call it maybe, your tail. And you want to go back 2 or 3 inches. So I'm going to do a little bit more there and pull my tail through. So I have just simply, there was no stitches there, I just fed my tail back through. You can fill the knot here of where you finished before. So your goal is to get this stuck in that same stitch or really close to it. So you stick your hook through that stitch and you draw your yarn back through the row before and the loop that is on your hook. So at this point, you just have the 1 loop on your hook, and this is your tail, and you're going to leave that tail down, and I'll show you in a second. We're starting the row just like you have before on the one previous, and we're going to start with the chain 3. So I weave this through, put it over my index finger, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I flip my project over and I am heading back this direction. So we have our first double crochet, because you count the first chain 3 as a double crochet. In this hole that was created by your 2 chains before, you put your second double crochet. And I'm going to show you why I don't have this tail wove through there in just a second. So just ignore that tail. So I've done 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and a single crochet. In your next hole, here's your next hole, and there, that thread that you wove through there is in there. Include that into your casing so that it is trapping in that tail. So I'm going to do a double crochet. I'm going to do a double crochet, 2 chains, and a single crochet. So now you have 3 rows. You have 1, 2, and 3. And at this point, before I start crocheting back, because this yellow would look really odd if I had some yellow going through my purple, I like to weave it through the same color row. So I am going to, at this point, before I crochet back, I'm going to weave in my tail in the same color row so that it looks nice and clean. So I'm just again randomly pushing it through stitches and pulling back the tail. So you just have your tail. I'm going to lay it back down the right way here. So again, you have your purple is through the tunnel here. So there's your purple tail. Now your yellow is also going to be through the tunnel. So there you have how to do the half shell stitch on a baby blanket. I'm going to bring back out the baby blanket that I'm working on and show you how I clip those threads. Here you can see that I have brought my yellow back through. This is my yellow tail. and I brought it back through and I crocheted it. Instead of just cutting it off right there, I like to sort of like a sewing back stitch. I like to pull it through a different direction that it is going, pull it back that way, staying in the same color. So I'm staying in the yellow, then I'm gonna pull it this way maybe. And I might even just do one more. And this keeps your tails from coming apart because it's sort of like the adage, a sweater that starts unraveling, you don't want the project that you have spent hours on to unravel. So I have basically backstitched that through the stitches, and now I just kind of give it a 1/4 inch tail and snip it off. Okay, before I let you get going on your own project, I wanted to show you what it looks like. This is going to be a full-size Afghan. To be honest, I have ran out of my cream color, so I'm at a standstill until I can get to the store. But I wanted just to show you what it looks like when you're using 2 at once. This is a navy and a cream, and it is using 2 at the same time. I'm going to lay my project in the correct direction here and just show you what it looks like when you're using 2 at a time. You have it on your hook. I'm going to weave it just like I always do. Going to hold my project between my fingers, and you do 2 at the same time. So I am now to the point where I need to do 2 double crochets. And that's why I love this stitch. You can always figure out where you are going to be just by looking at the next hole. You don't have to follow the pattern. It's a wonderful, wonderful stitch. So I did my 2 double crochets, did my 2 chains, and now my single crochet. And it just makes a really, really cool pattern. And it's a nice thick blanket. So the yarn that I'm using on this project is the Caron Simply Soft. I really just love the word soft is actually accurate. It's a very soft yarn. It's more of the economical price range, and I like it because a lot of the stores, the Walmarts, the Joann's, a lot of the craft stores carry this. So if you're traveling and you run out of a color, it's easily accessible to continue on your project. I'm so excited. My baby blanket is done. It ended up being about 26 by 28 inches. I finished off all of my ends. One thing I did notice that I added at the end, your base chain row, it was a straight edge where the other 3 sides had the scallop edging. So I just added a scalloped edge to the chain row. If you have any questions on what I'm referring to, comment below and I can explain that to you further. The yarn that I used, I have links down below, but here's a picture of the wrapping. I loved the way it turned out, nice and soft. Again, this is 100 chains wide, and then you do the half shell stitch. If you could give me a thumbs up, I truly appreciate it, and always subscribe down below and you can see more videos that we have prepared at DIY on the house.